Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the World Championship Series Europe Premier League. As we now move into our second series of the night, it's going to be Happy versus Bly.
All right. How thick is Happy's armor?
It's pretty thick, man.
For the entire of today's group, because it needs to be thick.
You're right.
It needs to be chain armor. What's the armor? It's chain
plate?
Chain plating. He needs chain plating for this. He needs a bulletproof vest underneath the chain plating.
Okay.
He needs really thick winter gloves.
Okay. You can get chain gloves, you realize.
Chain gloves, too.
You can have chain plate gloves.
He's definitely going to need a shield. Because Happy's playstyle is just kind of solid overall. Not really aggressive. He looks to defend, eventually win. But he's going up against, first of all, Bly, which is a guy that we could, to be honest, see spawn and pull first builds. We could see one base Baling Bust. We could see two base Nidus Worms, anything. Yeah. This guy's actually capable of any build out there and really knows how Happy plays, which could fuel this as well. So I really think that throughout today, not just only versus Bly, but potentially Bling and potentially Stardust, that Happy needs to have some sick defense.
Happy needs to be the bulwark, you're basically saying. Yes. All right.
He needs +10 armor somehow.
I can get him that. In my other fantasy games, I can get him that, no problem.
He needs that. He's going to need that today. Who do you expect to win this, though? We have a crazy Ukrainian or the super rock-solid Russian.
Crazy against not so crazy.
Yes, crazy against not crazy. Who wins? Crazy?
I think in the end, Happy is ever resilient, and I think he will be able to hold on. I really do.
Yeah.
Bly's good. Let's not take it away from him, but it's Happy, man. This is the guy that we keep saying, this guy's gonna do really, really well, and then all of a sudden he like falls in a round of 8, which is respectable. Don't get us wrong, but
I definitely have to favor you that Happy should be a favorite to advance from today's group.
Yeah.
But when it comes to preparation and preparing for an opponent, you have to favor Bly, because Happy opens up almost the same style every single game.
You're right.
They know each other on ladder. Everyone knows who Happy is on the ladder, so they all know his playstyle overall anyway. So you'd expect Bly to come into this with an advantage, especially because Happy is going to be entering this series saying, all right, which all-in, which attack is coming my way? Am I going to be prepared? That's the way I feel this series will play.
Yeah. We're going to have roaches. He likes roaches. We're going to have roaches, man.
We're definitely going to have banelings. To what extent, I don't know.
I think so.
We're definitely going to see zerglings and drones.
I think so as well. All right, let's jump into game number 1 as we have spawning up at the top right-hand corner, our blue Zerg representing Team Acer. It is Bly. And up to the top left, we have our red Terran representing Europe because he's the most performing, the awesomest guy in WCS for a while.
Yeah.
It's Happy.
His 4th time in Premier League, and every single time he's advanced from the round of 32. He got a top 8 finish in Season 1 and then was back-to-back round of 16 in Season 2 and Season 3. But now coming into Season 1 of 2014, one would expect at least a round of 16 finish and probably Happy to lose in the round of 8. And the reason why I say that is because he is very consistent in the earlier stages of tournaments, but has this block, this mental block, where he just cannot get past the quarterfinal. Ever. In his StarCraft 2 career, never. But it's very surprising, because a lot of people say, is it nerves or what is it? Why? But then I think he got a 3rd place at BlizzCon in Warcraft 3.
Yeah,
like how can you have nerves and stuff like that? You'd expect he's got so much experience.
I 100% know that. I feel I know the reason, and it's the opponents. The opponents he has to face in those rounds. You got people in there like MMA. You got people in there like all these like top level Koreans. He was able to. Did he beat Hyun at Homestar Cup or did he lose to him 3-2? I can't remember exactly, but he like goes toe to toe with all these huge Korean names and. Sometimes he beats them, but more so often than not in the later stages, he loses to them, unfortunately. And not as a foreigner, you know, that's always been a hard thing to get across. But Happy is trying. He's on the verge of doing it.
Yeah, I suppose, I mean, you have to be able to beat the Koreans, right? I mean, if you look at Thorzane's win, he was able to beat Pult in the final of his win. Naniwa has come very close to winning multiple tournaments through beating a lot of good Koreans. And it's going to have to be the case here, but he is playing up against the Ukrainian Zerg to begin with today, who is scouting with his initial overlord. We'll see that this is a Reaper Expand. It is the older style. We do see a newer style creeping in right now, which is 11-11, but this is 12-12, so 12 barracks, 12 gas. And Bly so far gasless inside his main base. And this is an okay map to play gasless on, I suppose, because the Queens are quite good at defending on the natural. It's kind of tight and compact. Reapers can't really jump up in a lot of different places. And the third base isn't that far away either, compared to a lot of other maps where you would kind of almost need circling speed to be able to move out.
Well, Reaper's now on the way to have a look around, and Bly is going to have to keep on top of his control to make sure that nothing too crazy does happen there. There's a gas cancel for the extractor trick whilst this overload was popping out. And aside from that, we have the expansion on the way from Happy. So surprise, surprise, standard as standard can be.
Yeah, and just go over to the Hellions next from this position. Reaper tries to poke in, sees one gas, will scout out the second gas and then turn back. So he knows that he's not facing now any aggression, knows that the Reapers can be out on the map for the entire of the game, basically. Because there's no circling speed, it's a queen heavy, a mineral heavy opening. So he'll keep his Reapers quite aggressive. We'll try to chip away on the zerglings and also the queens.
But I think especially against Bly of all people, Happy getting in there and seeing the lack of any gas whatsoever is going to be feeling very, very content.
Yeah. And here's one attempt to crack the armor of Happy, which is the two lings that have escaped down to the bottom left. But his defense so far good. As you can see, he's got a Reaper back at home. So he didn't send out two straight away. He's left one behind. Small little tricks here, which Bly is obviously going to use throughout the in-series, but it is going to be stopped here unless this Reaper goes away. But Bly, I think, may be expecting the Reaper to be there because he's only seen one, and he's like, where's the other one? So he isn't going to just send them to their death. We do see from Happy, actually, no third command center and double barracks. It's surprising he's played this style, because this isn't usually what we see from him. This is quite an aggressive stance from him, which isn't his norm, but it's been scouted from Bly, which now Bly's like, really? You're going double barracks before you're going up to the command center? Does that just not mean I get zergling speed, get a Bailey Nest, and you are in a difficult spot?
And characteristically, last times we saw Happy do this during the previous seasons of WCS, when we saw him going 3 command centers, he was far more grounded and far more stable, just in general in the games, as he was compared to this more aggressive style that we're seeing out of him. So I'm quite surprised by this. I wonder if Happy's actually been working on this style, because in the previous seasons it didn't look as strong as his economy one.
Well, one thing by the looks of it, obviously with already having two reactor down in on the one barracks, and I assume he's going to build another one, which I think is a mistake from him on his barracks, he's going to consistently build Hellions to this. So it's going to be a large Hellion count backed up by quite a few Marines and Stim. So you're going to have quite a lot of units to defend against this when it comes, because it's not a combat shield push. It is with Hellions as well. So this could still obviously do a lot of damage, and Bly's going to have to prepare himself to deal with this. But yeah, that one barracks, mistake with the reactor, unfortunately. A little bit sad, because obviously he could be pumping out more Marines at the same time here.
And those Hellions are going to try and slip straight on past these Queens, but there's a little bit of defense already at the top here. This is an ambitious play here from Happy, who will get straight past all of the Queens. And now this leaves the main entirely vulnerable with only one Queen to defend.
Yeah, this is basically Happy saying, do you have any Zerglings here? No? Great. Okay.
Bye-bye drones.
Yeah, that's
10, 12, 13.
He loses all the Hellions, which would have helped with the follow-up attack, but in trade-off, he just killed 13 drones.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's a little bit, you know, unfortunate there for Bly, who was not too far away from Zergling speed, but first of all, didn't have a wall with the evolution chambers, which you would normally see. So the Queens couldn't block, and Happy gets in and deals a lot of damage.
But now that you mention the evolution chambers, where are they? Because at this point, Bly hasn't really committed to anything in that regard. So he's added on his Bailey Nest for the defense after seeing, you know, how quickly those barracks have gone down.
And he's got 27 drones on the natural, and none in the main almost. So he's actually making a couple of just basic mistakes here. 4 Bailey's getting morphed in. He's starting to spread his drones now, but that's obviously a little bit slow. Not the best of starts here for Bly in today's game.
Well, 11 Engineering Bay will go down for Happy behind this, and the third command center was spotted very for Bly, so he knows that you know, his opponent is still going down more standard routes, and aside from that, he's just having to prepare himself with this third base, which he still hasn't transitioned to, so he's had a bit of a hard time really gaining traction in this game.
And Bly is just building Lings only right now, which he is expecting this attack to come. Does throw down the evolution chambers. 2 Queens in perfect position to fend this off for now. And this is not a successful drop.
I like the creep spread to the back of the base, though. Very, very helpful against these kind of drop plays.
Yeah.
Almost snipes out an Overseer and then pulls it on back, but there is an Overlord there that's slightly vulnerable. Those 4 Banelings have to do some work. And they will do by forcing all of that away.
But the economy is so heavily in favor of Happy right now, who has his 3rd command center finish and can go over to the gold base pretty fast here from this point. Is adding on his extra barracks and is in a comfortable position, especially as he keeps these units alive in the middle of the map. Picks up last minute there, loses a single Marine. And 1-1 and Baneling speed. No Spire, by the way. It's just Zerglings right now. That's all he can build is Zerglings.
So we're going to see, well, if he continues to commit to this, we're going to see an extremely heavy Baneling play out of Bly, which sometimes, you know, we are seeing quite a bit more of recently, but if you are a player like Happy that can split pretty effectively, I'll be interested to see how this is going to work.
And he's already got Widow Mines and a 2nd factory coming in, so it wouldn't work too well at all. I think he would, you know, eventually want to build a Spire here, because if not, he is in a pretty difficult spot, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's going to push this back in the middle once again.
Drone's still very low, just 56 right now.
His group spread's being very aggressive, but...
There's the Spire coming in, but overall, some great trades by Happy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's killed so many units without losing anything, really, so far.
Yeah, this is going really well for him. Keeping that Ling count as down as he can do whilst just dancing. There's only 4 Lings out on the field right now. And 7 Banelings. Of course, there's a few more Lings in production, but if Happy just keeps pressuring and goes over to the 3rd whilst also dropping in the main or attempting to, he's going to slowly constrict Bly.
Yeah, that 13 drone kill earlier really slowed Bly down in this game, unfortunately. And now we see Happy moving forwards while dropping.
And there's the splits. Once again, these Banelings really don't do a whole lot to that Marine count. That just powers on forwards, and he's going to sit right on top of this 3rd base and make it hard for them to do anything against. There's Lings, yeah, sure, but those Lings should be get cleaned up.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1-1 versus 0-0. He has the gold base. He's getting to the 3rd base economy line as well. So just a steamroll so far from Happy, and it pretty much started with those Hellions. And with the gold base taken and more units being made, and more units lost for Bly here, who's down just to... Well, he's actually back up to 54 drones. That's not too bad. But overall, he's lost a lot of units. A lot of units and drones. And he's not looking in best of shape here. Down quite a bit in supply.
Not the most aggressive 2-2 start here from Happy, who hasn't even begun it just yet, but... Right now, he's just focusing on his production, looking to hit his opponent where he can. And he's going to have a lot of Widow Mines, as you mentioned before, in this composition with the double factory support of it. If he can just continue playing on.
Remember, as a Terran player at this stage of the game, you're starting to rally towards a 4th hatchery. There's only 3. The economy is really, really hurt from Bly. So Happy just needs to keep the pressure on, keep trading off because he has the better income, and just overall keep on building units. But also, as you pointed out, he's not researching 2-2, which does hurt him quite a bit if this game was to go for much, much longer. He needs 2-2.
He certainly does. And if 2-2 finishes for Bly here before that even begins, then that's a catastrophe. As Bly will have a good window to try and get back into this. But again, the splits are going to be strong here from Bly, if he, from Happy, as those Banelings didn't really do a whole lot at all. They got like 4 Marines during all of that. And he will power on forwards. Once again, these Banelings are going to try and roll on. Those Mutalisks are providing the extra linchpin to try and hold this back as best they can do, and he will actually clean it up.
Yeah, he will clean him up and chase him back for now, but there are more Marines and units streaming across too. Still no 2-2 coming out from Happy. Very surprised at that, the lack of.
Yeah. It's getting a bit out of hand because all of these upgrades now are slowly on the way for Bly, and he didn't lose any drones really during that assault there. So if he can gain the stability that he needs across these 3 bases, get himself that 4th up as well, whilst having these upgrades out, he could be in a good spot. And he's getting Burrow as well for Banelings. Ooh.
Yeah, so Bly's starting to crawl his way back into this game. He can start to look towards taking a 4th base soon towards the south side of this map. He's starting to harass with the very few units that he does currently hold. And I just feel like my production tab is broken. Like, I'm not seeing 2-2.
Yeah,
but there it is now starting quite late in this game. So every fight from this position, Bly will naturally just be having a better trade-off of units, much more efficient for him. But this is a nice catch for Happy as immediately as the hatchery goes down. Yeah,
and catches the drone there, which is very, very nice indeed. Meanwhile, we have a big army now for Happy moving through the middle. Bly has to be careful. He could get supply blocked here. He's only got 10 supply left. He needs to start another Overlord before he starts pumping into those into that lava. Bye-bye. Well, he starts the Lings, and he is going to get supply block for just a second here. He certainly doesn't want that to happen whilst Empire Happy is pushing through the middle. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's... And Happy's built up a nice force now. Used the advantage that he's had with his worker lead and now built that up to an army, which is what you do in RTS games. You get resources, then you spend them on an army.
And then we have now the 3 Overlords on the way to try and alleviate this. But this is a push that's very strong here for Happy, looking to punish that 4th. That's quite a strong army, though, for Bly.
That's a lot of Bailings.
Yeah. Ooh, that did get some nice hits there.
Yeah, pretty good hit. Pretty good hit, actually. But there is a 4th now up for Happy. And still, you know, without 2-2, it is harder to fight this. And this is a good fight, actually. It has to force the pickup, and these Mules will chase this down. And then with all the Bailings and Zerglings underneath, Happy's in trouble.
Yeah.
He's going to lose a lot of units here.
He certainly is, but at the same time, a huge force up to the north here for Happy, now moving forwards into the natural, and he realizes the army positioning of his opponent. It's miles away. Can't really do anything to deal with this. He could just focus down hatcheries. Or anything.
Well, this is interesting, because all the units have been cleaned up at the south, but Happy moved out kind of at a good time there to counterbalance that loss of army, but he did lose a lot in supply.
He's losing a few of those medevacs, and meanwhile, he's actually doing quite a bit of damage up to the north, but he's actually going to get cleaned up here by Bly. And again, Bly did have the 2-2. He's got +2 weapons going for his Mutalisks as well. So it's looking good for the Ukrainians so far.
I would say that was not too bad for him. Sure, he lost a queen or a couple of drones there, but the big problem is that this 4th base is actually mining for Happy, kinda. He lost a couple of SCVs to a few Lings that did run around. But the economy is still in favor of Happy, who can stabilize again. He's got 2-2 now, finally. Can work on 3-3s. You look at his minerals and gas. It is more than enough to start that 3-3 section of his upgrades. And he's going to start coming down to this 4th base. Bly really needs to establish this 4th.
Yeah.
That's very important for his game right now. He's not mining from it. He's trying to. Oh, that's a good pick-off up there.
Meanwhile, he's going to try and push down to this 4th again, and as you mentioned, Bly needs to really get this base up and running, otherwise he's going to have a lot of hard times ahead of him. Those Banelings are going to zone this army out, though. But if the Mutalisks get down here, and yes, they will do.
I think if Happy could pick up his units at the north and maybe drop them in the natural while he's doing all the... I mean, drop them in the main even while doing all this, but he just needs to stretch Bly thin, who, as mentioned, has been down on economy all game, down on supply all game. If Happy stretches him thin enough, he can't defend in multiple locations.
He's going to try and hit this base once again. He's just going to go straight to the drone line. Widowmine on that ramp, positioned to kill off a few Lings. And he could bring down this hatchery before anything does happen. He knows this army's going to die anyway, and he will lose all of that.
That's kind of just pushing the advantage that he has, the kind of momentum-based advantage with his unit production.
Yeah.
14 Marines and a Thor and 6 Mulis in comparison to what they're actually able to build right now with the money that they have, which is a big, big difference. And with Thors coming into the mix, these Mules are going to have a much harder time getting anything done.
And he's positioning himself for the counterattack. So Happy knows exactly where his opponent's at in terms of mental state. He has to be going for some kind of counter. Otherwise, you know, what can he do after losing a base like that? He needs to do some damage. And he's going to try here. Finds a missile turret. Kills that off.
Loses one Mutalist in trade-off, though.
Gets a reactor. It's not too bad, but... Again, we're still seeing a heightened production capability from Happy in comparison to Bly.
Who now finally has his 4th base running, but as you mentioned and we saw, lost his natural, so it's not that much of a help at this point. So he's still very, very low. He's still only on 2-2 upgrades. He's got no long-term plan right now. It's only Banelings for victory, because the Mulis aren't going to cut it anymore. Against 3-3 Marines, against Thors added in the mix, he needs a high Baneling count. Currently 17 is okay, but against 9 mines and a lot of units,
and
how is 17 Banelings going to connect? They're not, basically.
Yeah. And 3-3 finishing is just brutal for him to deal with.
Burrow, maybe. He's got a couple borrowed units, but a scan covers the ramps, and that was kind of Bly's one chance there, really.
Yeah, and now it's going to be all about positioning these Widow Mines just a little bit quickly. And then from that point on, he sees the exact extent of his opponent's army. So this is a strong army here from Happy.
How are these Banelings going to connect? They have to connect, but I just can't see that happening right now.
Especially if they end up walking into a Thor or something like that. And a lot of them do detonate on that Thor at the front there. And that leaves so many Marines available.
And Marines are pretty good. Pew, 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 pew.
3-3. It does well. It certainly does. Oh, Mutalisks as well, just straight into all of that. Banelings from the north try and kill off a lot of Marines and do actually get quite a few of them, but in the end, there's not enough Mutalisks left.
And someone out there right now is saying, "Paul, Marines don't go pew pew, man." And I'm like, I know. That's what they do, Colaris, and that is a victory for Happy in map number 1. But I think we can say together, and for you guys at home too, I think some of you saying that at home maybe, that wasn't as easy as a victory as it should and could have been for Happy. Should have been a lot simpler than that.
I think they like first game of the group, shaking off some dust and just getting into this, because that was a little bit weird on either side.
Bly did tweet maybe half an hour or 45 minutes ago that he is nervous coming into today's group.
Okay.
Of course, expectedly so. Bling in there. Scary business. Scary business.
You don't want to be messing with those Brits.
Yeah. You know, if there's one Protoss player you're going to be scared of, it is the guy that goes to the gym and has tattoos everywhere and drinks lager. You know, you just don't want to mess with that guy. The little Korean dude, yeah, come on.
Who cares?
Please.
You meet him at an event, he's like, "Hello, I show good games."
Yeah, exactly. Bling's there. He's like big and buff.
And dancing around.
And his ID's Bling. So, yeah.
Don't mess with Bling.
But coming into Polar Night now for this next map, I'm pretty sure that Happy is sitting there behind his chair at home, and he just goes, looks into the screen, and just goes, "All right, let's go. Time to actually kick some butt."
I don't think there is nerve issues ever. Like, I think a lot of people have quoted that in the past, but I don't think it's there. For a guy this experienced, for a guy that plays day in, day out just tournaments and has guaranteed no ladder anxiety. I mean, no pros have ladder anxiety, right? But like, that's all Happy does all day, every day. So
you can still make mistakes, which we saw in this game, which doesn't necessarily relate to nerve issues. It's just simple mistakes that he loses focus or something like that. So definitely could be something else. But we are now ready to go into map number 2 here. Bly is just about to accept the game invite, and then we will jump into it. But would you favor Happy for 2-0 here then, after that game? Or would you say that Bly has it inside to bring the power of the Ukraine?
I think Happy shakes off the rust from that game and is like, all right, this will be same game, but like 2-2 starts quicker, I keep going, and all is good. But then I think Bly brings something different to the table here, something a bit more aggressive. I mean, it's Polar Night, he could do. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Could be sneaky with roaches.
Do you think Happy plays 3 command center build this time rather than try to get the double barracks to work, which didn't work, by the way. It was the Hellions that gave him the access to the economy line, which the barracks were meant to do.
I don't know. It's a tough one for me to call. What do you think?
I think 3 command centers.
You think 3 command center?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Well, we're just waiting for Mr. Ace of Bly to get in the lobby, and then we'll be jumping right into game number 2. But aside from that, we already had Bling. If you've just joined us, we've already had Bling advance onto the winners bracket final to play against the winner of this after defeating Stardust 2-1. So impressive performance from him so far. Will he be able to continue it on is the big question.
Potentially.
Potentially.
It's just a very open-ended answer, really.
It is.
So Bly's just holding us up for a second. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's not accepting the lobby invitation.
I wonder if he's watching
replay. Everyone else is ready, but he's not.
Score screen. Bathroom.
But overall, Bly, in that last game, if you think about it, didn't play too bad. Made a couple of mistakes, but I think it was just a little bit of greed per se. When you open up queens so heavily like he did, usually you can push back the Hellions that threatened him in that game. But if they run by, then it's a lot more difficult. But that's where you're meant to have an evolution chamber wall. Yeah. Which in this case he didn't have. And the reason why he didn't have is he was rushing up towards the lair and also Bailing Nest and wasn't really looking at his upgrades at all. So it did allow Bly, allowed Happy to get in there to give him a loss. But I think that Bly's going to also shape up for this next one.
No, you're entirely right. If you're going to play that Gasler style with the queens, you have to have some kind of extra defense at the front of your natural. It's just, it's a given. Even if, because he wasn't transitioning his drones down to that third as quickly as technically he could have. And it's like, well, you're not doing that and you're keeping all your drones alive, but you don't have your door shut at the front. Like,
yes, you need to lock the door.
Lock your door, bro. So,
especially when there's a happy Russian knocking on the front.
Yeah, he's not quite a bear Russian. He's not quite Slivko, but he's still pretty threatening. He'll still come in and ruin your day by killing 13 drones, mate.
Yeah.
That was a bit of English. Anyway, so now spawning up to the north as our blue Zerg. Currently 1 game down, looking to bring it back. He is Acer Bly. And down to the south, we have our red Terran. Representing Empire, it is Happy.
Reaper into 3 command centers, I'd imagine this time, because I think that Happy would be thinking along the lines of like, well, I'm glad those Hellions got in, because if they didn't, then that could have gone quite sour. And it also showed us that Bly is going to be quite active with scouting with his Overlord, because sometimes against Happy, you just like, all right, this kid's going 3 command center, well, let me just do this. And then you don't send in the Overlord, because technically it would be a waste. Because imagine if you're a Zerg player playing against Happy 100 games in a row, and 95 games, he builds 3 command centers. By the end of it, you're like, you know what, I'm just not going to sacrifice that Overlord. It will supply cap me. I need to spend lava and more money on it. Let me just not bother. And that sometimes happens against Happy and against other Terran players in general, because they play so similar game in, game out. And that could have happened, but we were shown that Bly is not going to do that this game. So I'm definitely feeling that Happy would look for a more standardized approach.
Yeah, you're certainly right. I think that from here on out, if Bly was able to see 3 command centers, maybe actually him seeing those double barracks. Well, okay, he didn't have any gas anyway to begin with. I'm trying to like theorize as to like why he wasn't getting aggressive himself, but he just wanted to play a bigger macro game. But he, you know, he didn't have gases, so he couldn't really get aggressive himself. Now, I'm expecting to see a gas here from Bly. He can play the the gasless style and wall off very nicely with the evolution chambers on this map if he wants to. But there's certainly options.
Do you think that Bly would go for a Roach Baling attack then on Polar Knight like this?
I think he could.
Yeah,
I think he could. But at the same time, Happy's always so good about his defense whenever he sees even just a glimmer of you going for aggression. So if he gets in with this Reaper and has a look around, he's like, oh, there's a gas there. Yeah. Oh, okay.
But so far, no gas.
Yeah,
so
true.
Looks like we're not going to see any gas taken.
All right, well.
I mean, it could be just after the Overlord. Sometimes they take it there, but nope.
Yeah, so indeed, Mr. Bly is going to try and play this out a bit more macro by the looks of things, which, you know...
this is a harder map to make the gasless style work.
Yeah.
Because it's harder to take your 3rd base on Polar Knight.
It's very difficult.
It's further away than the previous map, which usually suggests that you're going to need assistance from Zergling speed against Hellion and Reapers. But that's not happening here. He's going to rely on his Queens, which would, in theory, slow down his 3rd base quite a bit. And definitely a focal point for Happy throughout. But 6-lings, again, we could see 2 try to run towards Happy's natural again, like previous.
Yeah.
And there they are, actually, I can see on the minimap. There they go.
They're on the way. And, well, these are the ones in the main are going to have to keep dancing around. They saved 2 of them. Very good control so far by him. Sends another one forwards to try and poke away at this and buy time, but he does lose that one. So 1 ling is the case for now.
Have you seen the film? Is it, is it In Time?
In Time?
Is it, wait a minute. Is it In Time?
In Time?
Yeah, In Time with Justin Timberlake.
No, I haven't.
Because you can, like, buy time.
Oh, really?
The currency is time.
Is it bad of me that I say I probably wouldn't watch a film if it had Justin Timberlake in the title?
No. If that's...
Is it a good film?
Not your preferred artist.
Is it a good film?
I didn't mind it, actually.
Okay.
I didn't mind it. It was an interesting concept.
6.6. Oh, that's not terrible.
It was an interesting concept In Time. But we'll look at that double barracks again.
Yeah.
It was just the concept in general. Time, your currency is time.
Okay.
That's cool, I thought.
Time is money. It's business.
Time is money.
Okay.
And if you don't get paid, you die.
What?
It's kind of weird. There's a roach horn, by the way, really early on.
Yay!
Before Zergling speed here, could be a couple of assisting roaches. Could be more than assisting roaches to take the 3rd, that is. Could be to put pressure on. But overall, it's a 3rd base. Not a 3rd base, sorry. 3 barracks build, again, from Happy. And one would suggest building the other reactor at the same time with the other barracks.
One would. There we go.
Okay, so that was a mishap last time.
Yeah.
He actually didn't do that until the other one was completed, if not longer. But with the Roach Warren coming in, and Queen's quite here to support, there's no Baling and no Zergling speed, so it's not like he can go Zergling, Roach, Baling all in. Feeling that these Roaches are just going to kind of push the Hellions back, take a 3rd.
Well, yeah, the Hellions are actually just going to dart straight on by and get a few workers themselves. And they see the Roach Warren as well.
Not again.
Yeah, this isn't going well.
Oh, nice position too.
8 kills for 4 Hellions this time. That's a pretty good trade-off.
That's a really good trade. And seeing the Roach Warren is also a pretty big tell. And he immediately well, he actually did start Widow Mines and then didn't build Widow Mines. So he went back to Hellions there. And I'm not sure if he's expecting an attack from this. It is difficult to tell. As Widow Mines obviously would have been a decent setup here. He's just going to hold the Xel'Naga Towers to see if an attack is coming. He might just think it is a couple of Roaches, which would be obviously better for him here.
I was getting worried at the start of this game, to be honest with you, after seeing not too much gas coming in, because I thought I wasn't going to make a Roach, and I was all of a sudden having a panic attack, because he does like his Roaches, and it would be weird not to see him using them.
Yeah, Happy's building a second bunker just in case. He doesn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a big attack, but it could be still, so whatever. Double Evolution Chamber coming down, and a third from Blind. There is the Baling Nest, which is kind of early, but he did see those 3 barracks, remember, and not a third command center, so he does want that safety net to fall back on if need be. And Happy immediately salvages the bunker, just realizing this is an attack. Yep. But we'll be looking to move out now Stim is done, I would imagine. I suppose it's a part of his build. If he's going to hurt his economy, then you want to really be doing something with the thing that's hurting your economy, which is the extra barracks early on, the starport added on. He may wait for the 2 medivacs here and then go. But at least the Hellions and Reapers are going to get a feel for what's going on again.
Yeah, saving the Reapers from before. Very, very nice to have them utilized later on as this poking tool with the Hellions, especially if you can get them to tank. But Bly's doing a good job of hitting the Hellions and not the Reapers, which is always so important in this. And the Roaches should be able to shoo it away for now.
Yep. So 11 Roaches and nearly 20 Zerglings, which is quite a lot. But we are going to see a movement out now from Happy with double medivacs. And also there's Hellions and Reapers, which he's preserved quite well throughout this game. And depending on how much damage is dealt here, will depend on the next part of this game, really. Happy is definitely looking to trade off against these units. And with Stim and no Roach speed...
he's got to be very, very careful.
Well, this is nice.
Yeah, gets a few free Roaches. That's nice. Lovely jubbly as he kills off 4 in total. Will he get a 5th?
Yeah, this is really, really nice.
And he can now start laying waste to this base if he's not careful. So the Queen's moved to the front here to try and push this away. Instantly focusing down on those medivacs, putting a timer on these units as the Banelings start moving forwards. A lot of these units here spread as best they can do and are getting so much damage done for their cost.
He's going to try to pick up last minute, maybe?
Pick it up. Well, he's still microing well.
Yeah, that was really nice there from Happy. Killed a lot of units, forced a lot more units to be built rather than drones, and now the economy is very similar once again. So that was a nice little attack. He's got his 3rd command center and double upgrades on the way. But with Bly dealing with that okay, he does have the upgrade advantage, having his double evolution chamber down much, much earlier than his opponent, and also has the layer finish, has the capability to go over to 2-2. Look at the upgrades, though, from Bly. This doesn't look like he's going to go Spire. Roach speed and Baneling speed.
Big gas committal to just Banelings and trying to bust down the door.
Yeah, this is going to be quite an intense mid game coming out from Bly here.
2-2 starts. Well, +2 weapons have started. Will he go for Carapace as well? That would be... If he's investing so much gas into that, but also just going for Baneling speed and Gliera Constitution, it kind of doesn't line up if he wants to get so aggressive so early. Unless he wants to transition out of it, but this is normally like a killing move, right? If you want to go for mass Banelings, mass Roaches, and trying to break down the front.
Yeah, it's definitely a different play style. One that was favored very heavily by, for example, Hyun in the earlier days. Just skipping Spire play means in most fights that you take, you're going to win. But drops can kill you, but luckily that one gets picked off. Because there is no anti-air, there's only Queens. Missing +2 Carapace, by the way, which is I don't think it's worth it to skip it. I mean, sure, it's 225 gas, but you don't want to skip it. You still want to kind of get it. It's not like you want to spend that. You could spend that money on more units, but from this point, I think it's just more of a mistake there. The Spire does start, but quite late on. And Happy's 3rd base quite late as well. But considering how this game's played out, is normal for this point.
And we just now have 2-2 will be lining up pretty nicely here for Happy if he starts it right after the armor is done. So he'll try and keep up as best he can, but now only the Carapace has just started here for Bly. So a little bit further behind his melee, but normally you would see a Zerg having a harder time actually getting up to 3-3 anyway because of the Hive. So there will be a big window in between those normally.
Really great work on the creep there, left and right side.
Yeah. Dropping the scans where he can, killing it off, and then making sure he can try and pressure these bases. It's good so far.
Yeah, pretty good. It's very important to clear the creep in that right-hand side platform, because that's the majority of where his attacks will be, just throughout there. It's a lot of units from Bly, though.
13
well, not that many mines. 5 mines or so. 3 additional bunkers, because Happy's like, dude, Roach Bailing. Sick.
Yeah.
Sick life.
How many roaches are there? 12. Okay.
Yeah. So he's playing this very safe. Doesn't want to die to some form of attack, which Bly could go for. But with supplies being quite even, it's not a bad position for either player. Kind of similar in their position in this game.
And he's still pushing around with this army in the middle of the map. Ooh. These roaches are going to go for a counter, though.
Yeah, the longer the game goes on, the worse roaches are. So if he can get quite a bit of damage done with these to pay for them.
Yeah, be all right. Especially since they don't have range upgrades, so they're not really a huge factor when it comes to big engagements, especially with a few Marauders actually mixed into them as well. There's only 3, of course, but still.
4th base pick off on the left-hand side, and also drop on the 3rd.
Nicely done.
So this is quite a nice move from Happy. And he is defending against the roaches as well.
A lot of action everywhere, killing off queens, killing off static defense, and also trying to push away in the middle. In the 3rd base even, I should say, is at half health, so that'll be a focal point later on to actually hit for Happy once again as he continues to bring on the pressure. Yeah, he loses a lot of army supply, but deals a lot of damage in return for losing his army there. Manages to get away with 2 and a bit medivacs there, and actually will take on a fight against Emulus. That's always nice. None of them die, though, so... Not that many Marines in the end that really couldn't kill it off too quickly.
But the big problem for Happy would be if he loses his units, which he's starting to do, would a counterattack. But there's a lot of mines and bunkers here, so that's hardly going to work. +2 armor has been missed by Happy here. Oh, as I say, he does start it.
Okay.
Another drop to the left-hand side, and then he's going to start to waypoint on the right now, I think. So 1 scan in the middle to get rid of that creep tumor.
It's a lot of mines.
A little bit. Oh, he's not really looking to kill creep tumor with that scan. It's more if his opponent's army's there. That is a lot of mines. But a nice drop to the main base and a nice movement here.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit more difficult for Bly to really deal with. He sends a few lings up to the main to deal with that, but they are so nicely positioned between these mineral lines to make them a bit more cost-effective, and those lings are going to have a hard time.
So still, I would say this game's, kind of equal at this point, and it's going to really come down to the fight, which, with the amount of mines, if played well, kind of looks good for Happy. That's a lot of mines. There are a lot of banelings, though, so it really does come down to the fight. One big fight, depending on who wins it, would really push a lead in a favor for one of these.
A lot of mines. They're going to retreat on out after clearing up that creep, realizing there's no 4th there, but he might have to now factor in that there could be a 4th at the back.
Yeah, he scanned already and did see it there, so...
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he did.
There's still a lot of Widow Mines here.
There's so many Widow Mines! Wait a minute, those Banelings actually killed the Widow Mines off.
Yeah, they was the bosses.
That was pretty sick, actually.
And now look at the supply. Remember, one good fight would change the state of this game, and that was a pretty good one for Bly. And he's got quite a big supply. There is a squad of units that is dropping towards the back and also attacking on the 3rd here. So if Bly goes back to defend, I would say that Happy could get back up to his army supply. But that's not the case right now.
Yeah. Bly is just going to try and power on through here with this army. He has a lot of Mutalisks in this, so it's 17 in total. And there's not that many Marines. He's trying to break down this wall as best he can do, as quickly as he can do. +2 weapons. Actually, with the amount of Marines he has, he doesn't really do much here at this point.
Yeah, I think Bly may have cracked his opponent's defense here. Look at the supply count. Even though there's drops going on at the same time, that doesn't matter if Happy can't build an army again from his main base, which doesn't seem is going to be too easy to do.
He just needs to move down from this ramp and make some banelings and bust straight on in there, because right now he's completely shut down a lot of his opponent's economy. I have never seen a contaminated command center flying, but there you go. Wow, that was amazing.
And now Happy's in a bit of trouble. He's kind of hurt with his economy, and some may say, well, maybe he was a little bit overly aggressive in this game. But Happy is going to take a fight against these Mulus. That's always good to take a fight against the Mulus, but considering the economies, he isn't going to be able to rebuild those Marines, so...
it's just a little too much as that Baneling wave now washes across those Marines. Could happily bust on in, and indeed they will. And now this lays to waste a lot of here from Happy. Unfortunately for him, he can't really make anything else.
No, and Bly's going to take map number 2 here, so we will be going to game 3 again today in the first 2 series. And it seems like this one's a really scrappy one between the both of them. Both kind of making a couple of smaller mistakes here. Both trying to be very aggressive. And we are ended up with a bit of a fireworks show between the both.
Yeah. I mean, there's many times and opportunities here where we're seeing like double drops hitting against a counter attack, etc., etc. So they're both equally taking and doing damage, but in the end, it's whoever prevails with the good position later on, and there you go. That Blythe did it.
Yeah, and, I think it came down to a lot that fight in the middle, and Happy losing a lot.
Yes.
And then of course the counter attack would happen, but that would have happened either way. If Happy won it, as I pushed my mouse away, if Happy had won that fight, then it could have swung quite heavily in favor of Happy, but it was Bly that did take that. The next one's Heavy Rain. What do you think about Heavy Rain for this, Matt?
Okay. I think that this would probably go all right for Happy. Happy with the third base. Normally, we will see like good wall offs, etc., to try and hold on to that position. And you can wall off on, say, if he spawns on the north, you can wall off on the right-hand side and then be okay. But maybe we'll see Bly get aggressive. Maybe we'll see more roaches. I like roaches. I'm sorry.
Do you like tanks?
Yes, and actually, that's a good choice.
What's your favorite tank?
What's my... Wait a minute. This sounds like a trick question.
Mine's a Telsa tank.
Telsa tank? I liked Telsa tanks. They were cool. Mirage tank, I've got you.
Ah,
hey.
Yeah. I did like my Mammoth tank.
Mammoth tank was good. That was in a lot of them.
Yeah.
But Mirage tank turned into a tree, man.
Yeah, it did.
It was a tank that was a tree.
It was a tree.
I was like, wow, this is really annoying.
Well, imagine that in real life. A tank, we're not turning into a tree, but it'd be camouflage. Well, they do have a lot of camouflage, but...
They do. If you put, like, mirrors on every single side and you're in a forest... I know tanks can't go in forests, but bear with me. Like, you can't see it.
I could just imagine that. They're inside the tank, and the radar's like, beep, 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 beep. They're like, enemy incoming. They're like, hit the mirrors. And then the mirrors just take shape around the tank.
That'd be impressive.
Imagine that, though. The enemy walks up, he's like, wait a minute, why is there a mirror? Why can I see myself?
It's like, this isn't very good camouflage.
That's not very good camouflage.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 3, spawning down to the south, we have Empire Happy as our red Terran. And up to the north, we have our blue Zerg. It is Acer Bly. Where did that come from, anyway? My favorite tank.
Yeah, I don't know. Just thought I'd say it.
Oh, sick. All right, cool. I do like tanks.
What was the... I'm trying to think of the olden Red Alert days and the Tiberian Sun, maybe. Was it the Obelisk Tower? Was the Nod thing that went zzz?
The scorpion tail?
Yeah. It was like a static defense.
Then there was Hand of Nod, right? The temple that
the Hand of Nod was like a barracks.
Oh, was it?
I think Hand of Nod was a barracks.
What was the nuclear thing called then?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
It's such a long time ago.
Yeah, it really is. I played.
Did you?
Okay.
And did you at home as well, before we get into this, let me know on Twitter, did you ever connect PlayStation 1s together and have back-to-back TVs playing Command & Conquer?
No, because I played it on LAN.
But PlayStation, man.
Please. I did that with Xbox and Halo.
Okay.
Like, we did that a lot with Xbox and Halo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mario Kart and Wii. That's really not that old.
That's not that old, though. That's GameCube. I guess GameCube.
Our producer's like giving us entire sentences right now.
This is not as cool as PlayStation 1's Command & Conquer's finding 2 TVs that had the side buttons and were massive, putting them back to back to compete against family members in 1v1s.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool. That is cool. Old school. That's like Red Alert 1 days.
Yeah.
This is a long time ago. We're talking... What year? I don't even know what year that would be.
My first ever Command & Conquer disc was in French because I bought it whilst I was in France and we were playing it and I couldn't understand a word that was being said and I was like, what's going on? I'm just gonna kill people. I'm just gonna fight. It was good. Okay.
I remember the game cover. Like I just seen it. It's the guy with the red like spectacle glass, the green thingy. That was the Red Alert disc.
Yeah. Red Alert 2 was my game, man.
It was released.
Red Alert was so long ago.
PlayStation 97. That's how long ago we're talking.
97 was a good year for games.
97. That's pretty sick.
Because 97 was when Final Fantasy 7 came out, I think.
That was a great game. Both games, Final Fantasy and also.
Did you play Final Fantasy 7?
Yes, but not a lot.
Oh, okay, sick.
All right, so we have exactly the same openings, by the way, from every single game so far. Happy's gone for his Reaper expansion, whereas Bly's gone for Hatch Spawning Pool and 6 Lings. But yeah, dude, that's so sick. Back-to-back PlayStations, man. Yeah, double Reaper. Actually, a Marine, that's weird. That's not normal.
No,
2
he would have normally...
a Marine, and then the barracks. Oh, there's an Overlord above the barracks. I'm like, okay, that makes sense now.
He wants to kill this, bro. He's like, oh,
that's funny, actually. That's really funny.
I guess I'm just going to kill you, Overlord.
Yeah,
he's like,
that Overlord's dead. Sometimes Zerg players do that, though. They'll, like, sit over the barracks building the reactor. And a lot of, you know, robotic Terran players just build the reactor. But this time, he's like, all right, I'm just going to kill this Overlord.
He might need to lift the building to kill it, actually. He could lift the command center and get it in a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, it could get away, though.
Oh, no.
You can't see it.
He needs to lift the building. Bring the barracks.
If he will. I wonder if he will. He might not. He might just let it slip. 2 Lings do come across here, and he will kill both of them. But one thing that the double Marines here also offer, as you saw, was defense against those 2 Lings, which means the 2 Reapers can be more proactive on the other side of the map. But it does slow his reactor. 3rd command center, by the way. But that Overlord does get away. Surprising.
Yeah, I was really hoping he would lift the CC for the ultimate cuteness of that move. But
same style from Bly. 4 Queens. No gas. Really late no gas, though. 6 minutes no gas. Blinking egg.
That's the doubles.
That's a very, very late gas coming in.
And he's losing drones. He actually lost 3 drones in total so far to these Reapers. That's a really good pick-up here from Happy. Wow, 4 drones.
This is not the best of starts here. The gas is so late that his roaches are late, his speed is late. The gas timing normally is 5 minutes for a Zerg player playing this style. Sometimes even earlier. 6 minutes is really, really late. As you'll see, he just hasn't even mined gas yet. But we do have 3 command centers, then barracks, which is the more safer route, rather than getting double, engineering base down. And also starts your army production faster, so you can move out stronger once your medivacs are ready.
And this comes back to bite him losing so much health on that Overlord in the end, because now the Overlord on the left-hand side is constantly being trapped by these 2 Marines that should be able to push it away. And then also that Overlord on the right-hand side can't jump in because it would just die instantly. So he can't really get confirmation of this build at all.
Nope. Doesn't really know what's going on. It doesn't know about 3 command centers, Blue Flame Hellions. Well, at least he sees the lack of second gas. That's the only information he got from that scout. No second gas, which means no Cloak Banshees. Could still be late Cloak Banshees, but not fast ones. Isn't going to be Blue Flame. Isn't going to be Hellbat drops. And is either the same style before, like the barracks add-ons, earlier before the 3rd command center, or regular 3rd command center. A bit unfortunate not to know which it is.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really know if to build units a Bailing Nest or keep droning quite intensively against 3 command centers. That's the downside of this.
And, well, these Reapers and Hellions in the middle are going to get pushed away by some Roaches, which have done quite nicely for Bly here. Really buying him a bit more time at home to get set up and truly... up and running, and that's actually put him in a position where he can now throw double evolution chamber down at the front, which is the more normal play, but he did lose 5 workers to begin with anyway, so these Hellions would need to do even less.
He moves his queen to wall off now, which is nice, not to take damage in the early part of the game, which he's done every game so far.
And he's going to try and poke on forward, but there is that wall.
Yep, and he's not going to take damage for the first time here against those units. And even Roaches come out to support. 6 more Roaches is a lot. Just melee attack coming in. Needs to get that carapace down. But we're about to see Happy take quite a fast 3rd base here. And he's about to go over to medivacs quite soon. That soon that he's even switching the barracks. That's interesting. Rather than waiting for the factory from the rector, he's like, screw it, I'll just do this faster this way. Nice little difference there.
And Bly's looking to add on a few more Lings as well. He looks as if he's gearing up for some kind of, fight, basically. But
well, he knows at this point, with seeing the units stream out from the natural, that there will be an attack that he's going to have to face off soon. There's a lot of Roaches, though. It's interesting, though. He's definitely got, I feel that he almost has more than enough to deal with what Happy has. But bear in mind that he doesn't even know still that if this was 3 command centers or if it was for the much more dedicated type of attack.
Yeah.
But by the looks of it right now, he has more than enough units to push this back and potentially a counterattack, depending on how this fight goes. But he is droning up 9 behind this, so he's kind of just said, all right, I'm going to build an army to deal with this push out and then increase my economy well. So let's find out how much damage Happy can do or how well Bly's going to defend.
Well, there's 9 drones on the way. You're right, though. He could just crush this if he's not careful. So Happy, with his medevacs, does have 2 to retreat out if he needs them.
Yeah.
Very, very important here, as Bly is going to be set up quite nicely. This army is very strong from him.
No Baneling speed, though, and no Spire. So the medevacs can always retreat, and the Banelings can't really connect that well. But great creep spread this game from Bly, by the way. Left-hand side, really good. Right-hand side, a little bit weaker, but he is working on that.
And he's defending that location anyway, so... But at the same time, he would rather be taking an engagement on creep, so that does help that out. And we'll try and just retreat out here for a second. Some of these Banelings could get focused down by him, and indeed he does start doing it. Very good control there by Happy, because Centrifugal Hooks is not done. Nice transfuse, though, there by Bly. But again, the focus fire from a Happy was so good just then. He got like 6 or 7 Banelings for not much.
And he's going to drop inside the main base here. There's a couple of units waiting. Still no Baneling speed, which isn't going to be that great.
Reaper comes along for the fun. Could have jumped up, but who on earth cares?
Target? No, he's just going to get out.
Run away.
And behind this Happy, he's got a lot of money, man. He's not in gas on his 3rd base, which is why he's got a lot of money. And he's not added on his extra barracks yet, but he's about to do both.
Can't really sit around there for too long.
A lot of money, both players.
Meanwhile, we have another double drop over on the left-hand side here. So Happy's going to go back to his normal play.
Well, this is very good to utilize against no Spire, no Mulus. Just drop a lot. It's very difficult for the Zerg player to deal with this type of play.
Yeah. I'm surprised we haven't seen any Spire yet, I'll be honest. These units are very, very low, and he's going to have to pick them up once again.
And Happy is missing his 2-2 as well. He's kind of been so proactive with these drops, he's forgetting a couple of things. His drop micro has been pretty good so far. He's in the main base again, still hanging around. And overall, just very, very nice drop play, but he's got to focus on what's important, and that's his macro at home, which he has sorted out now, which is good to see.
I'm not sure if that was intentional, but dropping the Marauder first there to tank those Zerglings was very nice, as those Marines were helped out quite a bit, and he's going to hit this 4th base again, and there's really not a whole lot to protect it. He needs to bring back all of his units that should be able to push this away in the end.
Yeah. Yep. And another drop-in sent out on the right-hand side, while that was picked up on the left, and overall, Bly's just kind of been worn down through not having the Spire here. But all that gas that he's got in the bank, where is it going?
Yeah.
He's got so much money, but with his queens being picked off, and he's just kind of been running around, losing queens. Overall, his lava injectors haven't been up to scratch, obviously, because he's losing them all the time, which means it is difficult to spend his money, which is why we see a macro hatch coming in, and he's trying to really focus on getting his queens working. But nice play from Happy. He's kind of running over his opponent a little bit. Yeah,
this is going to be a bit hard to deal with. Not only a drop up to the north, but a drop at the south.
Doesn't want to lose that 4th, ideally. Don't lose his 4th.
That's a lot of units, though, that he's going to have to deal with. Oh, a nice Baneling detonation on that army, but he could have tried to focus that down and gotten out, but the Roaches will help out in the end. So, could get him another medevac. Oh, it's so close.
Yeah. And this is just a lot of medevacs overall. The medevac production's been very consistent here. Well, this harassment is going to eventually, I was going to say, it's eventually just going to move out for one big attack. And that's quite a lot of units.
Oh, yeah.
Would be nice if 2-2 was done, because 2-2 is done for the Zerg.
Happy's got to be saying, dude, where are your Mutalisks? Where are your Mutalisks? Because you are allowing me so much room.
And if he's not asking where the Mutalisks are, he's asking where the Banelings are.
Yeah. There's so much gas. There's 2,000 gas now banked up for Bly that he really needs to pump into Mutalisks. And a lot of those Widowmines got the Banelings that he needed to be able to deal with this army. He only has 5 left on the field.
Well, he's finally spending his money. 14 Mutalisks.
All right, but will they come out in time?
Yeah. And a good drop on the 3rd base for Happy, and also keeping the pressure on the left. He's trying to wear down that 4th base, because if he does that, then he finds himself in a very good position money-wise. I mean, technically he is, because that 4th base isn't being mined from. A good drop around to the 3rd by the looks of it, which will pull back Bly, hopefully, where then he can get to that bit. And another drop on the right side, even with a tank, I think. Is that a tank?
It might be a Hellbat.
Oh, yeah, it's Hellbat. Okay. I was going to say, I don't really Hellbat drop very much.
No. It's not something we
I do really tank drop, though.
You do tank drop? Sick.
All right, so he's starting to clean these drops up now. And this is a problem, I think, that happened maybe a little bit on Paul Knight, where he was a little bit too overly aggressive with his drops and ended up losing more than killing enough. He's got to be careful about that. But with the 4th command center down, and I'm sure that 3-3 will begin in a second once he kind of stops dealing with these drops, he's not in bad shape to back this up. The 4th has actually been mined from, and it is a planetary, so it's not like he doesn't have any money or any income.
No, Overlord's back to full health. That one that got tickled away at the beginning. But you're right. I mean, there's that drop that was heading over to the third there that just got killed off just completely with all the units in it. It's like, how much can you realistically do with this, Happy? I mean, you can have all the multitasking in the world, but if the drops are just suiciding themselves, then you need to be more proactive about keeping your army alive and pushing where it really matters.
All right, well, another push down this right-hand side here. Not a lot of units. The main army's still at home.
Yeah, he's going to get a bit of surround. He kills off the 3 Widow Mines before they even burrow there. So not too bad for Bly for cleaning up purposes.
And Bly's holding on. Happy's going to try to get on this 4th again. And he's also picking up a lot of units here. But the Mutalisks, be careful, bros.
Yeah, they do. But he's losing a lot of the Medivacs as well. Actually, that was a really good engagement position because that entire army that was very short range had to go around that bottom side there. So it was having a hard time really closing the gap with these Marines.
Yeah. But Happy's economy is just way too strong.
Yeah, he's adding on the blue flame now for these Hellbats as well. So
at least the Hive is done and the Ultralisk Cavern's coming in, so there's still hope here for the Ukrainian if he can get up to Ultralisk, but he doesn't have a lot of money and also doesn't have a lot of time because Happy is relentless in this game, is everywhere, always. And it must be very difficult, and you have to commend Bly for his defense throughout this game.
Yeah.
Drops everywhere all the time.
It just never stops. For some reason, I probably missed this medevac on this middle portion, but he's now going to just push this 4th base once again. He has some Marines over on this right-hand side. The medevac did die, so that will isolate those guys for now. And he does find this drop as well down to the south. So that's good by Bly. And he can't go in there.
He wants to. He's always wanted to throughout this game.
Yeah.
He's pushing forward here with a couple of Thors. Only 2 Medivacs, so if all the units come to defend, there is a chance to drop on the left again, which he's going towards the natural.
And he's going to drop a few of the units in this 4th, and then drop some in the natural, while still pushing on at the 3rd.
Jeez, as a Zerg player myself, I hate someone that does this to me. Dropping all the time, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
And your attention just needs to be so focused.
It's hard for me, man.
Yeah, it really is all over the place. Another drop going to the main while building up at home. But 3 Ultralisks are on the way. +3/3 was never started by Happy. He's only got +3 attack and not armor. And the Marauder count is not that high either. So it's non-existent right now. Only 3 just starting. So definitely still an opportunity for Bly, who is defending superbly, but does need to start looking about a 5th base, which, with all the creep that's been denied, is going to be difficult to establish. He really needs a 5th base because he's running low on money. His main base has run out. His natural's not that far away.
And these Zerglings were looking for a 5th base if it was down to the south here, but unfortunately they will not get an eye on that at all. But now Ultralisks on the field with +3 on the +3/3.
Happy messes up a fight, despite all his drops, despite all his multitasking, despite his APM, if he messes up a fight versus this army, the game is over.
Yeah.
Even though he's got a lot of money in the bank, he would then lose his 4th base, I would imagine, not being able to rebuild in time. There's borrowed Bailings everywhere now as well, so you have to credit Bly here. I mean, as good as we're looking at the drops and how we've been focusing on the Terran play, Bly is kept up and is still in this.
Yeah, it's like, let's think about it. I wouldn't need to be constantly looking at the drops as much if they weren't being defended really nicely. So Bly has certainly done very, very well about that. And now he's setting himself up really well with a strong army, with good defensive capabilities, with these Burrow Banelings everywhere. These ones on the left-hand side could happily go off.
And he's even trying to get his 5th base up, which is really good. And I love the Bailings on the right-hand side here. Or they're both Bailing squads on the left and right. Left is like, all right, if he comes for my 4th again, god damn it, I will blow you up. Unfortunately, those get spotted, which are more, I would like to kill you if you try to get my new base. But these ones...
Oh, catches a bit. And then
not bad.
The knee-jerk scan right after. It's like, you tricked me. But now he's just going to push on 4th. And how much does Bly have in this area to actually deal with this? Because there's a lot of damage.
Low health units here.
That is really, really low. The Zerglings actually get a brilliant wraparound on a lot of these Thors as well, whilst the Ultralisks get to close the gap. And Bly with 7 Ultralisks in production. Wow.
Yes, that is one way to describe this. He's going for the 5th base. Whenever you want to fight, there's an opportunity here to win, or at least get a small win in the counterattack. Planetary Fortress and a lot of turrets and reinforcements push that back. but 7 Ultras and 3 Broodlords, which are unanswered for so far in this game.
He actually has nothing to deal with that. Of course, there is the starport, but it's only one starport with a reactor. It's like
you've got no idea.
Okay, this yes, the economy was shut down a little bit from Bly on this 4th base, but if he gets his 5th base up and running up to the right-hand side and has these ultralists in good spots, could be okay.
Happy's going for a drop on the 5th base up to the top right. Well, putting on some pressure here, but Bly has been so cost-effective in dealing with the drops without really losing that much over time. He's been able to preserve the money that he's got. You know, I would like to invest in Bly.
Yeah.
He's very good with money.
Seems to be.
I would put my money in his Ukrainian bank and get my returns.
The Bly stocks, they're increasing in price, though, if you're looking to invest. Because right now, I mean, he's still making this defense work. He's losing the bases, though. And on this 3rd base, on only 3 bases, Happy will slowly start him out.
Look at the money that Bly has now. So yes, the stock is not worth investing in anymore.
It's like Bitcoins. It plummeted, man.
Sorry. Plummeted. I feel like I'm watching The Wolf on Wall Street.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's really, really good.
Yeah?
Really, really good. I'm like investing into the penny market, as they call it in the film now. But right now, we have Bly with a super strong army, but nothing to back it up with eventually. Like, if he takes one fight soon, loses a lot, Happy's still on 5 bases. He's still got a good army and has a lot of money in the bank. He's seen the Greatest Spy with that drop on the natural. He's building starports ready for the Vikings. So Bly needs to be very careful with his next fight here.
He certainly does. This is still a strong army from Happy, who is going to push on and kill off this base once again. And Bly is really now feeling it. He really is. Unfortunately for him. Nice fungal, though. Needs to try and chain that as best he can do, but has to send forward that fungal on a small army that was sent to kill his initial infestor off.
I feel like I'm watching a bit of Wings of Liberty right now, as Happy would imagine would continue to drop down the right-hand side to get towards the 5th base, towards the main, and just build up Vikings over time here. But on this map, remember, the base, there's very limited bases. It's actually a very small map in that regard when it comes to what you can earn. Because the 5th base from Happy on the left-hand side has a decent bit left, but after that, where does he expand?
Yeah,
so
to the middle.
Soon, he'll be on 1 base
income,
which is quite scary. So he has to be very effective with his money. Otherwise, yeah, he would need to expand to the middle. But if Bly re-expands to this left-hand side and top right, that's 2 fully mining bases he could utilize.
Bye-bye SCVs.
All right, this is such a sad day.
We knew this well.
This reminds me of like the year 3000 or something, where manual work is no longer needed, and it's all going to be done by robots, which is the mules.
So we send them to the giant jaws of monsters. That's where we send people.
It's in the year 3000, the way that people get laid off.
This is a gruesome future that you have created for us, Sean. Thanks.
Every time I see that, I'm like, oh, what a sad year that'll be in the year 3000.
There's something wrong with your mind, my friend.
Sad day. And now it's down to what? 46 SCVs, which is fine for, as we described, 1 base eventually here. Look, but you don't need however many SCVs he just had on 1 or 2 mining bases.
It's a similar situation. Oh, but they're not being sent to the death. So they're going to keep fighting for their supremacy.
Vikings!
And, oh yeah, that's not good.
Sweden!
Okay, actually they're going to get fended off.
You've got to be careful not to get fungled there.
The army supply is really in favor of Bly.
But I prefer Happy's army, I think, even though the army supply.
I think it all depends on fungals.
It depends on the fight. Like, is he spread or not? That's pretty big too. Nice counterattacks, though. Saying, all right, slow army. All right, you slow poke.
This is the year 3000. We have hyperjets, man.
So you got to come back to defend.
And he's going to lose this base again. Not good. Not good here for Bly. Really needs some money. He's got 9 infestors on the way. He has a lot of gas to mineral ratio, so going for infestors, I don't mind this too much.
Well, yeah, that's perfect, really. Yep. He's going to have to start to use fungals and infested terrans quite smartly. It's going to be crucial in the fights here against the Vikings. And against the Marines, really. Defeat the anti-air, you win the game, virtually, so... It's been a 30-minute now, across the 30-minute mark.
I wasn't expecting this series to go on this long, I'll be honest with you.
No.
I was expecting Bly to bring the thunder, but he's brought it in a different fashion in the end. And this army needs to be careful. Those Mutalisks need to be careful. Be careful, Mutalisks.
It's the Viking count out now. 14. I'm not surprised, but I wonder why we have no Ravens. Imagine a couple of Seeker missiles into this becomes much more difficult for Bly to control his army. But I mean, Vikings overall are pretty good too. They can do the job here. Big set of Vikings on the left-hand side. Find a Corruptor or two, but also gets back in time. Do we have burrow research, by the way?
Yes,
we do. You got to be careful. Bly was smart. Could have 1 or 2 Infestors burrowed on the left and right-hand side. Pop up, catch the Vikings, and then buy time for the other Infestors and Corruptors to come around.
Yeah.
But that's the Ravens, actually. There we go. Cool.
And Corvid Reactor. All right. So, Ravens, and this is where we see Happy go into a lot of these games, a lot of them, and he normally looks pretty darn comfortable. So, let's see if he can deal with Bly. Because now, Bly, I mean, yes, he has quite a bit of gas banked up, and he actually could make a lot of Infestors, but
I mean, if you look at the main chunk of Bly's damage output, what is it? Where is it? 7 Ultralisks and 4 Broodlords?
Yeah. He's
got a lot of support in the Infestors and the Corruptors. But overall, I just don't think his army's that good. He's been starved too much. He's very low in supply. I wonder what he's going to spend his money on at this point. I think he's trying to wonder himself, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you, as a Zerg player now, what do you build? Is it you add more Infestors, you add more Broodlords, more Corruptors?
Against this kind of army, it's a really tough decision.
I would imagine more Corruptors and Broodlords.
Yeah.
I mean, what are his air upgrades, by the way? He's only got +1 carapace as well, so maybe that's... Oh, 1/1, sorry. Yeah. So maybe that's something he'd like to spend his money on. But at the moment, 11 drones. Okay, I guess that makes kind of sense.
It's one way.
Well...
He doesn't really have
then
that
again,
much
he doesn't really
to do.
need 11 drones. If you think about it, he's mining from 1 base right now on the left, right?
Yeah.
But then again, if he's going to add static defense, then that makes sense too. But he doesn't need those 11 drones to mine right now. Happy's going to take the middle.
All right, this is a slow game from Happy that we're used to seeing at this point, and he's very, very happy to just sit back, relax, get Ravens out, get as many as he would like, throw down Hunter Seekers, wait for his opponent to hit up against him, the Bulwark, as we mentioned before.
Bly sees this, and this will be the end of the game soon, because you have to fight this.
Yeah,
there is no way that you say, let me just build up a little bit more. No, you have to stop Terran from taking that base. If he takes a fully saturated, new, fresh, clean base, good luck playing this game. You have to stop this.
Yeah. And the Broodlords here, even them shooting from such range now are still at risk, right? Because of the Vikings.
Holy zombies.
That's a lot of stuff. And the Hunter Seeker missiles actually fizzle out as they were trying to reach the Infestors at the back there, so a bit difficult. Meanwhile, we have 3 Ultralisks trying to do something. Dance.
Trying to do something, yeah. That's the way to describe that. Happy has been pushed away from the middle, though. So that is I suppose, a moral victory for the time being.
Congratulations. It takes a whole lot of time for a Planetary Fortress to kill some Ultralisks, Sean.
Yeah. That's not going to work. That's 3 Ultralisks down the loo. Goodbye. So
there's
now
only 1 Ultra
19
left.
Infestors. Woo!
This really is Wings of Liberty.
Infestor gadget. Da, 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 da.
I don't know if Bly watched that. I think this is really strange. I don't know how he's going to win. He's relying on Infestors and Infested Terrans alone.
Yeah. All right. I think it's time for the Infestors to do their thing.
All right. A lot of those units are quite far away and actually sent those Seeker missiles onto the Broodlords that were morphing in, but they don't die. They're on 1 health. Get him. Where are the Vikings? They're at the back. Hunter Seeker missiles everywhere. What's he actually going to kill?
Anything and everything, slowly.
Yeah.
He's still starving his opponent from that base at the top right, too, which has been a great point throughout all of this game. But the Viking count now 16. 12 Ravens, 16 Vikings with a good, solid ground army underneath it. Bly is running out of steam here.
Right. We're at 15 Infestors now. And I don't see how he can actually win this game anymore. It's going to be very, very difficult. Happy is just crossing all the T's and dotting all those I's. He's throwing down all the Huntseek missiles. Ooh, that was a brutal one.
Yeah, I mean, all right, spread the birds.
Spread the birds.
The eagle has landed. Go, 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 go.
I don't think this is going to work for Bly. He's going to try. He's going to hold on. Fungal growths hit quite a bit of this. But meanwhile, he's being dropped in his main. The Mutalisks have all popped out to try and kill all of this off.
This is literally the flying V of Vikings right now. Just, come on, baby. Go in.
Lots of Fungals, but another base dies.
Ah, so much death. Death carnage.
I don't even know how to commentate these engagements.
Just go. Everything's dying.
Death.
Yeah, and Happy pushes through. Just great use of the Ravens and great spread of the Eagles.
Good job, Eagles. You've done well.
The birds will be victorious today.
Happy's like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. He's like, good job, Eagles. You can come home.
Or he's... oh, never mind. Anyway,
it's done.
Happy is going to advance from the first game here as Bly will drop down, and that makes Bly will play against Stardust, which is going to be an interesting one. But Happy will go up against Bling in our winner match. Not too far away.
Awesome stuff. So we now determine all the positions in this group. That was a lot of a long, drawn-out one there.
That's a 40-minute game, yeah.
That's how Happy plays. That's how Happy plays, and it does well for him. He just lets people hit up against him, and then also, like, he's like, okay, so this is the play style of Happy. He's got a shield with one arm, but he's also got another 2 arms.
With 2 more shields.
No. Wait, with like 2 little knives that he's doing this with. He's going like...
That was kind of his play style, yeah.
3-armed Happy. And that's it. All right, guys, we're going to go to a short break. And then when we're back, we're going to have our winners series between Mr. Bling and Empire Happy.